Imagine a world where every mirror reflects not just your physical appearance, but your innermost thoughts and feelings and behaviors. A world where you can see yourself as others see you, stripped of all the illusions and self-deceptions. This is the power of self-observation, a practice that has the potential to transform our lives from the inside out. Today, we're diving deep into this profound concept and exploring how it can unlock hidden potential and lead us to a more authentic, fulfilling existence. I'm Mark Roach. Welcome to Transcendent, my YouTube channel where I share my journey around the world through life, crossing the full spectrum of human life from high to low, as most people in American society define them. This channel is all about inspiring common people to find their power. Self-observation is a cornerstone of personal growth and spiritual development. It's a practice that has been emphasized by many great thinkers and spiritual teachers throughout history, including Carl Jung, P.D. Ouspensky, G.I. Gurdjieff. Today, we're going to explore the insights of Maurice Nicoll, a student of those masters who wrote extensively about self-observation in his psychological commentaries. Nicoll emphasizes that self-observation is not just a concept to be understood intellectually, but a lived practice. It's not enough to simply know about self-observation. We must actively engage in it. This distinction is crucial because many of us fall into a trap of thinking we understand something because we can recall information about it. But true understanding comes from experience, from applying knowledge to our lives. Think about it like this. You can read every book written about swimming, memorize all the techniques and theories, but until you actually get in the water and start moving your arms and legs, you haven't really learned to swim. The same principle of life applies to self-observation. It's not about knowing, it's about doing. So what exactly is self-observation? Well, it's the practice of becoming aware of our thoughts, becoming aware of our emotions, becoming aware of our behaviors as they happen without judgment or interference. It's like creating a small gap between you that's experiencing life and a neutral observer who's watching it all unfold. This observer is what Nicoll refers to as the observing eye. Now, what you might be thinking, but I'm already aware of myself. I know who I am and what I do. And that's where many of us get stuck. We assume we know ourselves, but in reality, we're often operating on autopilot, guided by habits and conditioning, and what Nicoll calls our imaginary eye, the idealized version of ourselves that we pretend to the world and often believe in ourselves. The truth is, we all have blind spots, aspects of our personality, behavior patterns, and emotional reactions that we're not fully aware of. These blind spots can actually significantly impact our lives, our relationships, and personal growth without even us realizing it. Self-observation is the tool that helps us shine a light on these hidden areas. Nicoll uses a powerful metaphor to describe this process. He says that self-observation is like letting a ray of light into our inner darkness. This inner darkness isn't something sinister. It's simply the parts of ourselves that we haven't yet brought into our conscious awareness. It's our automatic reactions, our unconscious biases, our habitual patterns of thought and behavior that we may have been repeating since childhood. So let's consider an example of how to make this more concrete. Imagine someone who considers himself a kind and patient person. They might react with defensiveness or anger if someone suggests they can be impatient or short-tempered at times. This reaction is just a form of self-justification, a way of protecting our image of ourselves. But what if this person started practicing self-observation? They might begin to notice moments when they do, in fact, become impatient or irritable. At first, this realization might feel really uncomfortable. After all, it challenges the person's self-image, who they think that they are. It can make them sick and sad and shocked. But this discomfort is actually a sign of growth. It means they're becoming more conscious, more aware of their true self, rather than the idealized self-image, the lie that they were carrying around about themselves. This increased awareness is incredibly powerful. Once we become conscious of a pattern or behavior, we have the opportunity to change it. We can't change what we don't acknowledge. Self-observation gives us the ability to see ourselves clearly. Warts and all, and this clarity is the first step toward meaningful change. It's important to note that self-observation isn't about self-criticism or judgment. It's about acceptance, and it's about neutral, compassionate awareness. The goal isn't to berate ourselves for our flaws that may be defined by some standards that we need to throw away, but it's about understanding ourselves more fully. This understanding naturally leads to growth and maybe to change. Nicoll points out that as we practice self-observation, we begin to separate from the automatic reactions, from being a robot, to actually begin thinking for ourselves or acting from who we really are, why we're here, our greater purpose. We create a space between the stimulus in life and the response, between what happens to us and how we react. This space is where our power lies. It's where we can choose how we respond rather than reacting automatically based on old patterns or conditioning. This separation also allows us to be more understanding and compassionate towards others. When we become aware of our own flaws and struggles, we're less likely to judge others harshly for theirs. We begin to see that we're all human, all imperfect, all on our own journey of growth and understanding. We're all in this together. One of the beautiful aspects of self-observation is that it's a practice available to anyone at any time. You don't need special equipment or a particular setting. You can practice self-observation while going about your daily life, at work, at home, in social situations. In fact, these everyday moments are the best opportunities for self-observation because they're when our habitual patterns tend to emerge. However, listen, Nicoll cautions that not everyone is ready for the practice of self-observation. It does require a certain level of maturity and openness. People who are completely self-satisfied or who can't conceive of anything greater than themselves may find it difficult or impossible to engage in genuine self-observation. This is because self-observation requires a willingness to challenge our existing beliefs about ourselves and the world and how things work. For those who are ready, though, self-observation can be transformative. It's like turning on a green light, turning on a light in a room that you've been living in the dark. Suddenly you can see things you never noticed before, both the beautiful and the challenging aspects of yourself and your life. As you continue to practice self-observation, you may find that it becomes easier and more natural. You might start to catch yourself in the act of reacting, noticing your thoughts and emotions as they arise. This increased awareness can lead to greater emotional regulation, better decision-making, and more fulfilling relationships. Moreover, Nicoll suggests that consistent self-observation attracts the influence of what he calls the work. This is important. A higher level of consciousness or understanding. This influence can accelerate our growth and lead us towards what he calls the real I, or your true self, free from the limitations of your conditioned personality. It's worth noting that self-observation isn't always easy or comfortable. It can be challenging to confront aspects of ourselves that we've long ignored and denied. But this discomfort is a sign of growth. It's the feeling of pushing beyond our comfort zone, of expanding our understanding of ourselves and the world. So as you embark on a journey of self-observation, remember that it's a practice, not a destination. There will always be more to observe, more to learn about yourself. The goal isn't perfection, but continuous growth and increasing awareness. Here's some practical tips to help you cultivate the practice of self-observation. Start small. Begin by setting aside a few minutes each day to simply notice your thoughts, feelings, your bodily sensations without trying to change them. 2, use triggers. Choose specific activities or times of the day to use them as reminders to practice self-observation. For example, you might decide to practice every time you sit down for a meal or every time you get in your car. 3, keep a journal. Writing down your observations can help solidify the practice and provide insights over time. 4, practice non-judgment. Remember, the goal is to observe, not to criticize. Try to maintain a neutral, curious attitude towards what you observe. Maybe even make a game out of it. 5, be patient. Self-observation is a skill that develops over time. Don't get discouraged if you find it challenging at first. 6, seek support. Joining a group or working with a mentor who understands these principles can provide valuable guidance and encouragement. As we wrap up here, I want to emphasize that self-observation is more than just self-improvement. It's not a technique. It's a pathway. It's a pathway to a more authentic, conscious way of living. It allows us to break free from the automatic patterns that often control our lives and to make choices that align with our true selves and values. Remember, every moment with awareness is a small victory. Every time you catch yourself reacting automatically and choose a different response, you're growing. Every time you notice a habitual thought pattern and question it, you're expanding your consciousness. Self-observation is a lifelong journey, one that can lead to a profound personal transformation. It's a practice that can help us become more compassionate, more authentic, and more fully alive. And as we become more aware of ourselves, we also become more aware of our connection to others and to the world around us. So I encourage you to embrace the practice of self-observation. Start today. Start now. Become curious about yourself. Watch your thoughts, your reactions, your habits with compassionate interest. You might be surprised at what you discover. And remember, this journey of self-discovery and growth is unique to each one of us. There's no one-size-fits-all approach. Trust your own experience and insights. Use what resonates within you and leave the rest. Here's a summary of the key points that I've covered. Self-observation is a practice of becoming aware of your thoughts, emotions, behaviors without judgment. 2, it's not enough to know about self-observation. We must actively practice it to benefit from it. 3, Self-observation helps us see beyond our imaginary eye to our true selves. This practice creates a separation between our observing self and our automatic reactions. And then 5, increased self-awareness leads to the possibility of change and growth. 6, self-observation can lead to a greater compassion for ourselves and for others. 7, it's a lifelong practice. It becomes easier and more natural with time. 8, the discomfort that can come with self-observation is often a sign of growth. You'll get used to it. 9, self-observation is available to anyone, at any time, in any situation. 10, this practice can lead to a more authentic, conscious way of living. I'm Mark Roach, wishing you all the best.